Welcome back to Oraanj Interior Design. If you've ever found yourself torn between 2 or maybe 3 different interior design styles, wondering how on earth you can pull them together into a cohesive look, then you're in the right place. In today's video, we're going to show you how to mix and match interior design styles like a true pro. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you love great home design, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss an exciting new video from us. We've got a lot to share with you today, so let's get started. So, let's start with the basics. Mixing design styles might seem like a tricky task, but once you understand a few key principles, it becomes a fun and creative process. The first thing to know is that no style is off limits. Whether you're into minimalist design, mid-century modern, industrial chic, or vintage charm, there's always room to play. But how do you blend these styles effectively? Well, the secret is balance. A good mix of styles doesn't mean throwing a bunch of random elements together. It's about harmonizing textures, colors, and furniture so they work together rather than competing against each other. For instance, if you're incorporating sleek modern pieces into a space, you might want to offset them with something a bit softer to keep the room from feeling too sterile. Conversely, if you're mixing more traditional or rustic elements, the trick is to add touches of something more contemporary to keep things from feeling dated. Mixing styles isn't about following a rigid formula. It's about creating a space that's uniquely yours, that feels warm, lived in, and inviting. Whether you're blending modern with vintage or industrial with rustic, your approach can be as bold or subtle as you like. It's your personal expression. Alright, the first step in the process is choosing your primary style. This will be the backbone of your space. Think of it like the foundation of a house. Everything else will build on top of it. Let's say you're drawn to the timeless elegance of traditional design, but you also want a touch of something more modern. Traditional design might be your base, but you can easily weave in elements of contemporary or minimalist design to keep things fresh. The key is to make your primary style the dominant influence in the room. This gives the space a sense of consistency and flow. Without that solid foundation, things might feel a little chaotic, so it's crucial to define your core aesthetic first. When choosing your base style, think about the vibe you want to create. Are you looking for a calm, serene environment, or do you prefer something more eclectic and vibrant? Your primary style will help guide you as you move forward. Now, let's talk about adding layers to your design by incorporating secondary styles. Think of this as seasoning your dish. You've already got your base flavor. Now let's spice things up a little. One technique to make this work is by choosing a style that complements your primary style. For example, if you're a fan of industrial style, known for its raw metal finishes and exposed brick, try incorporating some rustic elements. A reclaimed wooden coffee table or a vintage rug can soften the hardness of the industrial aesthetic and add warmth to the space. Alternatively, if you've gone for a mid-century modern look with its sleek retro vibe, you might introduce a touch of Art Deco with gold accents and elegant patterns. This combination adds a layer of sophistication while staying true to the clean lines of mid-century design. Another example could be blending boho with a more minimalist style. The pared-back, clean design of minimalism can be softened with the rich textures and vibrant colors of the bohemian aesthetic. You might add some boho cushions or a vintage rug to an otherwise neutral, minimal room. It's important to remember that your secondary style doesn't need to dominate the room. Just a few key elements can make a world of difference. Whether it's a vintage chair, a piece of art, or a throw blanket, these details can elevate your space without overwhelming it. Let's move on to one of the most important parts of mixing design styles, the color palette. When you're combining styles, color is your best friend. It's the glue that holds everything together and helps unify the different elements. Start with a neutral base, something like whites, beiges, or grays. Neutrals create a cohesive foundation, allowing the other colors and design elements to shine without clashing. Neutral tones allow you to play with other hues without overloading the senses. Plus, neutrals are timeless, so they ensure your design doesn't look dated as trends shift. Once you've established your base, pick 1 or 2 accent colors to bring in. You can choose bold hues or keep it subtle with pastels or muted tones. For example, if your primary style is modern minimalist with a neutral palette, you might add in some deep blues or soft greens from the Scandinavian style to give it a calm yet inviting atmosphere. Remember, you don't need to overdo it. A select few colors that complement each other will make the room feel harmonious. Too many contrasting colors can overwhelm the space and create a sense of discord. Keeping the palette simple but varied ensures that everything ties back together beautifully. Now, let's talk about textures. They're often the unsung heroes of interior design. When you're mixing styles, textures are your chance to create depth and visual interest. A variety of textures adds richness to a room and makes it feel more inviting. For example, if you're working with industrial design, you might pair metal and glass furniture with soft textiles like linen cushions or a wool throw blanket. The juxtaposition of hard and soft materials creates balance and makes the space feel more dynamic. The hard edges of industrial furniture need the softness of fabric to feel welcoming. You can also mix old and new textures. If your space features a modern minimalist style, consider adding a vintage leather armchair or a rustic wood accent table. These little contrasts break up the sleekness of modern pieces and add a sense of history and warmth to the room. Don't forget about layering rugs, curtains, and cushions. This is a perfect way to bring in different textures without overwhelming the room. Layering different textures not only adds dimension, but makes the space feel cozy and lived in. The trick is to mix different materials, such as velvet with linen or jute with silk, to create a balanced and tactile experience. Textures can be as simple or as complex as you like. From soft velvet cushions to weathered leather chairs, mixing textures allows you to play with contrasts and tactile elements that make your space feel truly unique. When it comes to mixing styles, furniture is the star of the show. But how do you make sure you don't end up with a mismatched hodgepodge? Here's the key. Look for furniture that shares common characteristics. Whether it's the materials, proportions, or design lines, aim for a sense of cohesion. Let's say your main style is mid-century modern. You can introduce boho elements by incorporating a low-profile sofa in a muted fabric, a few handcrafted wooden pieces, and some colorful woven baskets or cushions. The soft curves and wooden frames of mid-century furniture will blend seamlessly with the more relaxed and eclectic boho vibe. If you're blending vintage and industrial, consider using 1 or 2 statement pieces from each style. For example, a vintage leather armchair paired with an industrial metal side table can work beautifully together. This contrast can add visual interest without being overpowering. Also, don't forget the importance of proportion. Mixing oversized pieces with delicate ones can create a lovely visual contrast, but make sure the scale works for the room. For example, an oversized sofa can easily dominate a small space, so balance it out with smaller accessories or furniture. Too many large pieces in a small room can make it feel cramped, so try to maintain a sense of openness with smaller furniture items or open shelving. Let's talk about lighting. It's an often overlooked element that can make or break your mixed design. Lighting has the power to set the tone for the entire room. Whether you're going for an industrial vibe with exposed Edison bulbs or a soft, romantic glow with chandeliers, lighting can tie your various styles together. If you're mixing modern and vintage styles, consider using a statement light fixture, like a retro-inspired pendant lamp. It can add that vintage touch without feeling out of place in your contemporary space. Layering different types of lighting is another great way to achieve harmony. By combining ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting, you can create a flexible and dynamic atmosphere. Layering lighting is also essential. Think about using task lighting, ambient lighting, and accent lighting all in one room. A combination of a stylish table lamp, an overhead pendant light, and some decorative candles can create a welcoming, harmonious atmosphere. Lighting sets the mood and has the ability to elevate a space, so choose fixtures that complement your style while providing practical illumination. And there you have it, mixing and matching interior design styles like a pro. To recap, remember these key points. Mixing styles is all about experimenting and finding what feels right for you. Don't be afraid to have a little fun with it. If you have any questions or want more tips, leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to Oraanj Interior Design for more fantastic design inspiration, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.